Hey Summit County, welcome back once again to another yoga session with Andy. Thanks for joining me. It's going to be a 20-minute session to get you prepared to get out on the mountain and enjoy all of the activities that we have to offer here in Summit County. To begin our practice this morning, we're going to go on and just start off in a seated position. Take a nice long deep breath in, let the head lift up out of the shoulders. As you exhale, just let go of any lingering negativity, any stress going on in your life right now. We'll take another deep breath in, finding a sense of optimism and strength. Setting an intention maybe for your practice today, considering why you're here on the mat with me this morning, why you're choosing to take the next 20 minutes out of your day to join me in a yoga practice. Setting goals for yourself, whether those might be mental or physical. And then exhale, releasing. From here, we're going to go on and find a series of seated hip openers this morning. So we're going to go on and have a couple options here. Option one, you could have your legs just kind of stacked with your legs staggered one in front of the other. Option two, you could bring your right knee on top of your left knee. Now, if that feels a little tight, you could kind of meet in the middle between those poses and modify simply by just stacking your lower legs for like a seated pigeon variation. So find whichever of those variations feels best for you. Definitely modify if you're feeling any tightness or discomfort through the hip area, and we'll continue on with this series from that position. We'll go on and find our hips connected to each side of our mat. Take a breath in and exhale, letting those hips settle in even closer to the earth. As we inhale again, we're going to reach nice and high. On our exhale, let your right hand release down to the side of your mat. Let your left hand reach overhead to the wall. Relax through your neck. Bring in however much of a bend to your right elbow that you need in order to get a nice deep side opening. We do want to keep that left hip attached to your mat. If it starts to lift off, go on and bring it back down to the ground. We'll inhale as we come back up. Exhale over to the other side. Reaching your right hand overhead to the opposite wall. Gazing upward towards the elbow. Soften through the neck. And then we're going to come back up to center on your next breath in. As we exhale, twisting to your right, release both hands. Right hand comes down onto your mat behind you. Left hand meets at the knee or thigh area. We'll find a nice tall spine and then looking over your right shoulder to find a seated twist. Feeling some space open between the ribs, open between each vertebra. And then finally opening through the heart. We'll come back to center, reach overhead nice and high, and take it over to the other side. Same thing on this side. Go on and bring your left hand down onto your mat. Right hand can meet at the knee or shin area, or at your thigh. And then we'll return to center one more time. Squaring shoulders forward, take a deep breath in, reaching to the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to drop our hands out ahead of us onto our mat and come down into a fold. So releasing at the hip area, start to just walk those hands down to wherever you would like to hold. Releasing your chest towards the knees with each exhale. Finding those deep belly breaths even while in this compressed position. And again, you can do this fold regardless of whichever leg setup you might be in right now. At this point, you should really feel a nice deep stretch through that right hip. Getting into the IT band, getting those legs prepared to get nice and limber for whatever skiing or snowboarding activity, whatever it might be that you're doing after this class. And we'll start to walk the hands back to the body. Big inhale at the top, exhale, uncross the legs. Take a second to shake things out, release any stiffness through the hips. And then we're going to come back to that setup, opposite leg on top. So for you guys, That might now be your left leg. Again, to show you those options again, you could have the ankles staggered. Maybe you have lower legs stacked, or maybe you have your knees stacked. We do want our hips attached to the earth. So if you come to this cow face position that I'm in and your hips are starting to lift or it feels too tight, definitely feel free to modify if you can. We'll go on and breathe in nice and high. And let's take it to the other side first this time, dropping your left hand, reach right arm overhead for your side opener. Keep that right hip rooted to the ground. Relaxing through the neck again. Deep opening from shoulder to right hip. We'll come back up. And coming to the other side, left arm reaches over. Relaxing your right elbow to whatever point feels best for you. Again, take notice of how your body is feeling this morning and definitely adapt as needed to accommodate any stiffness, any injuries. And we'll come back up to center. We're going to breathe in again, twisting over to your left this time, framing your shoulders in that direction. Release your hands. Right hand comes down to the legs and left hand releases behind you. Nice seated twist here. Bringing our upper body all the way around, looking over your shoulder to the back of the room. Continuing to breathe through these holds. And then we'll eventually come back to center, make your way over to the other side, release to your right. Seated twist to your right, looking over the shoulder. Bringing left hand somewhere along the legs. And again, reminding yourself we're not leaning back into that back hand, we're just bringing it around to guide us into a deeper twist. So again, a nice dynamic pose that can be really restorative for the body, but yet addressing multiple areas at the same time. We'll come back to center one more time, reaching high, frame forward, exhale, begin to fold. We'll release our hands to the mat, start to walk it out. Again, we'll hold here for a few breaths, so get comfortable. If the hips are feeling a little tight this morning, you're welcome to ease your way into it, transitioning further and further into the pose. With each exhale, letting your breath guide you deeper if that's available to you this morning. Just a few more breaths if you feel like settling in as the body acclimates, getting more and more comfortable with each breath. And then we'll eventually start to gently walk the hands back to the body. Big breath in at the top and exhale, uncross the legs as you arrive. We'll give our legs a little shake. You could do a little windshield wiper motion side to side, get some motion going through those hips. And then when you're ready, we're gonna cross the ankles, flip over the knees, and bring hands to the top of our mat. Start to prepare yourself for a downward dog. We'll push our hips to the ceiling. Start to spread the fingers, pressing your palms into the earth, bending each knee, finding that mobility through the hips. Now that we've warmed up our hips a little bit, we'll prepare to take it forward into some energizing core work. Prepare yourself with a nice deep breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna find a high plank. Continue to keep the lower belly engaged. Option to keep your knees on the mat if you prefer, or you could take a forearm plank as another alternative. We'll have our wrists directly under the shoulders and a nice line from our heels to shoulders as well. Continuing to breathe. Staying strong, letting that inner bend of the elbow begin to press forward, finding strength through the back and belly. And then we'll push back for our downward dog. Take a breath in and exhale. From our next breath in, we're gonna bring our right leg off the ground nice and high. And then as we exhale, we're gonna come into our high plank position and then bring that right knee to our right elbow. If it doesn't quite meet, that's okay. We'll inhale, push back, lifting through the hip, and then exhale, knee between the elbows. Inhale, push back. Exhale, finding a little twist, use those obliques to get that right knee over to your left elbow. And then we're gonna actually bring the outer edge of the foot off your mat onto the ground. Option to hold here with hands remaining on your mat, or you could fly left arm open for a fallen angel pose. Reaching high, opening through the shoulder. And then bringing that hand back down, begin to relax your right knee to a bend, and then we'll slide it onto the ground. We're gonna actually bring our left knee to come up and meet it, and we'll actually take a seat down onto our hips. So we've got right knee pointed forward, left knee is tucked behind the foot. Take a nice deep inhale, we'll reach overhead, twisting to your right leg, exhale, framing the hands out ahead of that knee, we're gonna release into a deer pose. So start to walk the hands out ahead of you. You're absolutely welcome to remain on your hands if this feels good and you want to hang out here, that's totally cool. You could come down to elbows and forearms, or maybe you're grabbing a pillow or bolster of some sort for support under the arms. Make this restorative for you. Use this as an opportunity to slow down the breath again, relax your heart rate once again. With each exhale, relaxing deeper towards the earth. Finding our deer pose variation here. Finding your rhythm, breathing in and out through the nostrils. And then we'll begin to come back to the hands, start to walk it back to that leg. Take a deep breath in as you arrive. We'll bring that right hand behind you. Inhale, fly left arm up as the hips elevate. We'll lift the hips towards the ceiling and then fly that arm as far back as the body allows you to go. And release the hips to the earth. From here, we're gonna go on and adjust our seat to bring your left leg so it's straight out ahead of you on the mat. Right leg's gonna basically hang out where it was. So we'll find ourselves in our figure 4 position here with your left leg straight, right knee bent, and the bottom of the foot just tucked to the inner thigh. Let's inhale, reaching nice and high overhead. And then as we exhale, begin to fold forward down that left leg. You could start to just walk the hands down the shin to wherever the hands comfortably end up. And then eventually letting your neck relax, letting the head soften towards the knee. Continuing to breathe as we hold. Get a nice long opening through the back of the leg, stretching into that back, that hamstring area, releasing the stiffness through the hip. We'll begin to roll back to seated, take a big breath in, and then exhale, relax the shoulders. We'll flip that leg around once again. We're gonna bring hands to the top of the mat and make your way to travel towards downward dog. Taking 2 full breaths as you arrive, preparing for our next round. Same thing, other side. Take an inhale, bringing your left leg off the ground nice and high. As we exhale, finding that high plank position, bring knee towards the elbow, give it a little tap. Inhale, push back. Exhale, bring your knee between the elbows. Really engaging your core, remember to breathe. Inhale, push back. Exhale, using the obliques to find that twist all the way over to your right elbow and then crossing the outer edge of your foot onto the earth. From here, you can remain where we're at or open up to fly, right arm all the way open and beyond. Finding strength through the core once again as you hold. Releasing that hand back to the mat, relax your left knee. We'll slide it across back to your earth and then taking a seat onto your mat. Right knee will tuck behind the foot. We'll have our hips both placed on our mat once again. And we'll inhale, reaching overhead. Exhale, prepare for deer pose, twisting to your left knee. And then release hands out ahead of that knee. You can kind of frame the knee or walk slightly to the left of it. We'll start to walk our hands out. Again, you could stay where you're at if you'd like, or you could come down to forearms and elbows. Great opportunity for a pillow or blanket, whatever you have available at your house or wherever you're staying, wherever you are watching us today. Continuing to exhale, relaxing into the hold, finding our deer pose variation. Finding a gentle release through that hip area, relaxing the legs, and using this as a breathing opportunity. Taking a moment to rest and recover. Bringing in that fresh oxygen, our energy, our life force. And then we'll start to come back to the hands. Coming back to seated, take your left hand behind the hip. Inhale, fly your right arm up and over, bringing hips off the ground towards the ceiling. Fly that right hand as far back as you can go. Big opening through the shoulders and chest. And then relaxing back to your seat. We'll bring hands back across here. Bring that right leg straight out ahead of you. And we'll adjust on our mat for our seated position here, finding that figure 4 shape once again. Right leg is long, left knee bent. We'll inhale, reach high. Framing towards the right leg, exhale, fold. Walking the hands down the leg to wherever is comfortable for you to meet. Maybe you're at the ankle, maybe you're at the foot. Maybe you're reaching beyond. With each exhale, letting our chest lower closer and closer to that right thigh. Getting that nice long stretch through the hamstring. Maybe sinking in deeper, settling in with each breath. Keeping our neck long. We'll inhale, begin to roll back to seated. Big breath in at the top and exhale as you arrive. We'll flip that leg back around behind us, bringing hands to the top of the mat once again, and then pushing hips to the ceiling. Finding downward dog, take an inhale. As we exhale, gaze to your hands. Option is step, hop, or jump feet towards the top of your mat. We'll bring our feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, palms down to heart center. And we'll relax our arms for a moment. Go ahead and step your feet actually a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Maybe coming to about shoulder width or maybe to the edges of your mat. We'll inhale, reaching hands nice and high. And then as we exhale, we're going to release our hands to the low back and interlace our fingers. Taking a breath in, roll shoulders up and then back towards the spine, opening through the heart. We'll inhale here. As we exhale, begin to fold forward at the hips. As we come forward, let your hands drift away from the low back towards the ceiling. Now watch out for this one if you've had any shoulder injuries. Again, read your body and see what fits best for you and how you're feeling today. Relax the neck as you find your place to hold. And then while we continue to fold, go ahead and release the arms, shake it out. Let those arms hang out and be heavy. We'll come back up to standing. Take your right arm across the body, left hand comes up for support. You can either hold on to the upper arm at the tricep area. Alternatively, you could bring your arm to a bend to take it a little bit deeper. Continue to breathe, opening up some space between the shoulder blade and spine. Little counter pose from that fold previously. We'll relax the arms and switch it out. Left arm comes across. You can either hold at the upper arm, shoulder area, or bring your right elbow to a bend. Continuing to breathe as we hold. And we'll come back down to center. Inhale, reach nice and high. Exhale, palms to heart center. Let's go on and bring our feet about hip distance apart once again. Inhale, reaching nice and high. Exhale, chair pose. We're going to bend the knees, drop the hips, and then let our arms guide us to make sure our spine does not collapse forward. We're going to maybe gaze somewhere out ahead of you to the top of the wall. Let your weight begin to sink into your heels. We want to make sure that our spine remains strong. Engage that strength through the thigh area and the core. Take a breath in. Exhale, 2 more breaths, maybe sink deeper into the hold, coming down to a lower squat. 2 more breaths, staying strong, we're almost through. And on your next inhale, rise all the way to standing. Exhale, dive to a fold. Inhale, coming up halfway to a flat back. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing once again. Exhale, palms to heart center. We're gonna step our feet wide again, this time changing it up. We'll have toes pointed out and heels in. We'll return palms together, take an inhale. As we exhale, we're gonna drop into a wide yogi squat. So we're gonna come all the way down towards our mat, and elbows can meet at the inside of the knee area. We do wanna make sure that our feet are flat. So if you're tempted to come up onto the ball of the foot, feel free to make some adjustments. Maybe adjust spacing, adjust the angle of the feet, find what works for you. If this is really uncomfortable, you're welcome to grab your pillow, block, bolster, whatever you have, and then just simply tuck it under your seat. We'll take a breath in and exhale. Option to continue holding here. If you'd like to get another shoulder opener, you're welcome to join me in a bind, bringing right arm out to the side, thumb pointed down, and then wrapping your left arm behind. So we'll basically wrap around, binding that knee, gaze over your left shoulder as it opens. Continue back to center. Take a breath in. Exhale to the other side. Finding your bind around your left knee, shoulder is open. Come back to center one more time, deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we're gonna assist ourselves all the way down back to our seat. Take a moment to shake out the legs if you'd like. And then we're gonna come to a butterfly position with the soles of the feet connected and our knees open. Take a breath in, let our head grow nice and tall out of the shoulders, and then exhale, fold forward. So bend at the hips and then let the rest of the spine follow. You're welcome to grasp onto the feet or walk your hands out, either's fine. Or if you'd like to make this a more restorative option, grab your props and you could tuck them on top of your feet. Letting the upper body collapse onto your prop or releasing downward, hanging towards the toes. Continuing to let those knees drop to the earth and opening through our low back. We'll breathe in as we roll back up to seated. Take a breath in and exhale. We'll bring our knees upward. Take a moment to take it through a few rounds of seated cat-cow, breathing in, lifting the heart, and then exhale, rounding, collapsing the belly inward. Inhale as you lift, bringing that range of motion all the way from the tailbone up to the chin. One more round, breathing in and exhale, really beginning to slow down your breath. We're gonna come all the way down onto our back, assisting yourself, bring your legs nice and long, and coming down to forearms and elbows. And then eventually we're gonna come down to our Shavasana to close out our practice this morning. Thank you so much again for joining me, and stick around here in a moment for Summit Sunrise.